One. Welcome to the Muskegon channel. It's Andy O'Reilly, and today I've got my double duty hat on with Muskegon channel and channel 96. We're going to try something new with the public access TV channel that we've got. We've got an opportunity to bring programming of all kinds of sorts to Muskegon, and this is a new venture for us to bring something in that's not 100% focused on Muskegon, but it's got a great Michigan twist. It's a pretty cool concept for a movie. And the director, Bobby Anderson, is here. You're like this big famous California guy, right?
Well, I've been very fortunate to find some good acting work out here. Lifetime series. I'm on Glow for Netflix, but I'm actually from Flint, Michigan originally.
Really?
So,
wow. Well,
yeah,
great for you.
Thank you. There's nothing like Michigan, so I was happy to make a film that really focuses on a group in Michigan.
So let's talk about this film. I had a chance to catch a couple of minutes of it. I'm going to wait till the premiere, which is coming up Monday, across all of our platforms. It's going to be on TV. It's going to be on demand. It's going to be really easy for people to find and see. It's called Heartprints in the Snow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it. Look at me. Tell me about this.
Good job.
Tell me about this movie and the inspiration. What got you to do a movie about dog sleds?
So growing up, I got started in 1996 with my family. We had one Alaskan Malamute, and we were really trying to find ways to get the dog the proper exercise. And we reached out to different groups, and we found Mush of Michigan, and we did that for over a decade. And when I moved out to LA, I always felt like that chapter of my life was never completely closed because our family got very close because of that and because of the dogs. And I was sitting down watching the new Call to Wild with Harrison Ford, and I'm watching it just placed the Directors Guild in Los Angeles. And my friend's looking at me, and she's like, "Why are you crying like every 10 minutes of this movie?" And it just brought me back to those memories I had with my dogs. And it was in that moment that I realized I'm meant to make something about that experience. And so I was thinking, do I want to make a feature film? Do I want to make a short film? But I didn't want to make something fictionalized. I wanted to make something that was really near and dear to me with the people I remember, focusing on my family and our dogs. And that's when I settled on a documentary. So we had all these film dates planned. Unfortunately, it happened right in the middle of COVID. So we had to change from in-person to some virtual stuff, but I was able to still get a good hybrid in there. But I just wanted to make a movie that really focused on the heart of the sport, because when you watch films like 8 Below or Snow Dogs or Call to Wild, you see the connection between people and dog. But I haven't seen a movie made or a documentary that's the sole focus, is how is that bond form? And let's talk about your experiences. And so people can really see that the sport doesn't exist, especially on an amateur level, without a strong human and dog bond. And I really wanted to give a positive documentary out there. And that's where Heartprints in the Snow came from.
I am a gigantic documentary fan. I've basically given up on regular TV programming. It just, and you know, I understand there's a market for it. I understand people just want to be entertained and they just want to be, they just want some junk food, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But as somebody that is looking for more out of TV, to take these documentaries that we now have a world of opportunity to see. I remember back when it was just the 3 channels and you got, some game shows, then a couple of sitcoms, and then a drama at night. Now we have a world of documentary to choose from through on demand. Talk about your influences of who has been a part of your world influencing how you make a documentary.
So I've worked with a documentarian out here. His name is Ryan Katzenbeck, and he made a lot of stuff for the Reels Network. And I never thought that I would ever end up doing documentaries. Especially in acting school and theater classes, like, you don't really focus on that because it's not really like acting. It's more just real life.
Sure.
But I started to love them because I started to realize that what the world needs is more truth in more real experiences. We have so many, like you said, channels where if you want to turn into this channel or this channel, you can watch a fictionalized program. But documentaries is something that I think, especially educational documentaries, is something that the world really needs right now.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to animals and comes to dogs and environment, a lot of different things. So Ryan was somebody that got me hooked onto documentaries, and that's when I had this free time during COVID. I'm like, well, let me try my hand at it. Let me make my first documentary. I've made a short, I've made features, but let's go ahead and let's make a documentary about something that I know very well. And again, I couldn't be happier with the response I've been getting from people. Most people are just very happy to have a positive documentary out there, because there are a lot of groups that are trying to come after the sport and label it as abusive without actually understanding how it works and how the bond works, and how, you know, dogs will only run if they want to. They're not forced to do anything. It's just like people going biking with their dog on a leash. Like, if the dog doesn't want to run, he doesn't have to. So I wanted to bring that to the forefront of the conversation. And I can't be happier with the result that I'm hearing from people, because they're bringing up their own memories and their own happiness with their own dogs, whether they race dogs or not. And that's very important to me.
We're very fortunate to be able to show this back to a Michigan audience, but as a producer and director and all that, you get this thing out, you've showed it to a few people. What's your path next to really gain some exposure for this thing? Do you take it to festivals? Do you float it out there for Amazon or Netflix? What's the next step?
Well, my main goal, even when I first made it, was I just wanted to be as viewable to as many people as possible. Because
Sure.
for me, this documentary was meant to help change the perception of the sport in a more positive light for those that might be critical. So whether it's making a bunch of money, or whether it's being viewed by small audiences, or I'm just passing it out to people that I know, as long as it's getting viewed, that's the goal. I wanted it to be something that can help change minds. So the next steps, I'm in touch with a couple of different streaming services. One is really, really well. I can't unfortunately release the name of the network right now due to NDA, but they are very interested in it. Also, we're looking at potentially making a mini series out of it. So we have all the mushers in the film, but then there'd be half-hour episodes, and each musher would have their own half-hour episode that we would film without having to do anything virtual. So there's a bunch of different pathways. Once we get this momentum going and it's being seen by a lot more people, and yes, definitely festivals. Some festivals are picky because if it's already been shown, they won't want to show it at their festival. There's some up in Alaska that we're interested. There's some in Minnesota. Like, it's just whatever we can do to get this out so people can watch it, whether it makes a lot of money or it makes no money. If I can change one person's mind, I've been successful in this film.
I know that
And I'm
feeling.
just very, yeah. And so to have bigger streaming sites, especially documentary focused streaming sites, interested is really exciting, because yes, you know, you can make money, but at the same time, that's millions of viewers
Right.
that I otherwise wouldn't have had. So there
I
is some
get
great
that.
developments.
I really get that. And, you know, for a guy that walked away from broadcast media and went into digital and rely on things like streaming and Roku and Fire TV and all that to spread our signal. And you being from Flint, you may remember that Muskegon and Flint are kind of held in the same pocket together when it comes to Michigan, of these two towns that everybody kind of looks down their nose at. And the reality of both towns is that they might not be perfect, but they're not as bad as they're portrayed. And
I had some best memories in Muskegon. I mean, my family, we were before we even got into dog sledding. We would have our weekends free because weekends, you know, were dedicated at that point to dogs. But before that, we would go camping almost every other weekend up in Muskegon, and the lake is beautiful.
yeah,
There's a lot of really pretty areas, and unfortunately, yes, there are areas in Michigan, especially Flint, that it's easy to focus on the parts that, yeah, you turn your nose down at or you don't like. But there's so many beautiful parts, like the Flint Farmers Market and the
yep,
sense of community, arts revival that's going on there. It's not all crime and low police and, you know, the unfortunate situation with the water. And with Muskegon, there's a lot of beautiful things there. I remember I used to go, what was this? Like maybe it was 98 or 99, and there was this awesome little fair that used to go up there in some of the campgrounds, and some of my best memories as a kid were just being able to be a kid and go to the lake and go on a sea-doo or go, swimming and locating ducks, and I got to help them with that. Like, there's so many good things from that area.
Yeah.
So when I actually discovered the Muskegon Channel, I'm like, this is perfect because not only did I have an amazing childhood with my dogs, but I had an amazing childhood with Muskegon as well. So like, this is a perfect combination.
Yeah, we love it. So let's go back to those memories and Flint and Muskegon and all that kind of stuff. Talk about the cultural shift when you moved from Flint to Los Angeles and assimilating into that. Tell me about that.
Wow. Well, where do you start? So the biggest thing is it's not that people in the city, and I'll say LA for now because that's where I'm at, but I mean,
Yeah.
I had the same kind of response in New York. It's not that people are closed off or unfriendly. They're just not focused on like genuine, most people, I'll preface that, aren't focused on as much of a genuine conversation. It's more business. It's more, how do I get to the next step? How do I get from here to here? And in Michigan, everyone took a minute to slow down, especially in Flint, and have a good conversation and give you the shirt off their back and be very warm and friendly. And there are people out here like that. There definitely are. But it has been a challenge because I came with this very Midwestern mentality, give your neighbor a cup of sugar, give someone the clothes off your back, help them. And people take advantage of that very easily out here. The other thing is parking. I mean, I know that sounds weird, but I will never, I will always be thankful when I go home to find 3 spaces that are open for
Right.
parking. Um, it's the weather, especially like right now, it's blazing hot in LA.
Right.
Michigan has, it's Monday, it's something else, Tuesday, Wednesday. The weather's always changing. In LA, it's the same exact climate every single day. Maybe we get a couple days of rain in March. So that I miss. I literally last week, it's funny, but I was praying for a tornado. I'm like, just give me something. Like, I don't want an earthquake. I don't want power outages because it's hot. Just give me a tornado or a really bad storm. And I have friends from Texas and all over here. They're like, "What are you talking about? You have tornadoes?" I'm like, "Yeah, Michigan has tornadoes.
Yeah.
Like, we have weather, hail, we have everything besides hurricanes. But sometimes our storms feel like one.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing too. It's everything, and snow especially. There's no winter here unless you go to very far north, like border of Oregon. Um, and especially as a dog sledder, we relied on the snow. And to know that here and to have friends that I've now had for, over a decade, never seeing snow in their life. I'm like, how is that possible? I remember it being, yes, a blessing, but also a burden. But now I'm like, I'd love to get stuck in the snow. I'd just love to have some snow memories again because everything is a complete 180 out here than it is in the Midwest.
Well, I'll tell you
there's
what.
a lot.
Yes. Speaking of snow, let's do a clip. You sent us over a clip from the movie. We got about a minute here that we're going to show people exactly what this is all about, and then we'll come back and wrap things up here. This is about a minute clip of Footprints in the Snow with director Bobby Anderson.
It gave me something more. When you have a pet, you can love on that pet, you can hold that pet, and the pet can show some love back. But it's not given the opportunity to really show its love.
You can teach anything to be fearful enough to do something for you, but if you want to truly be competitive or you truly want to get the most out of your animal, it starts with the relationship. If you build that foundation and you have that relationship with each and every animal, each and every dog on your team, your dogs are out there pulling out of love. They're not pulling out of fear. So the fact that I did build a relationship with every dog that I had, I think definitely made me as successful as I was when I did.
That's pretty remarkable, Bob. I got to admit, I'm not much of a dog guy myself. As I got older, I kind of grew a little allergic. Well, actually, a lot allergic. Who does that? Grows into allergies instead of out of them.
It happened.
And I tell you, the other thing for me too, and I have to be honest about being a pet owner, is the time. I don't think it would be fair for me to get a pet and crate them all day long, to have them in the house and to, give them 10, 15 minutes at night. That's all I got time for, right? But
Right.
the people that can put the dedication and the time and the energy and everything that you seem to have captured in this film for these pets, what a powerful combination.
It is, and dedication is huge, and having the time is huge. Because I mean, even living in LA, there are people that they work from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. at night, and they'll have a husky or they'll have a Samoyed, and I always question, like, why have that dog if you can't give it the attention and especially the energy it needs to get out? That's why people would say, I can't control my husky. My husky's going everywhere. I'm like, you're not getting it out and getting it its exercise. That's why. Like, and I could never have a large dog out here, especially because in LA things are much tighter, much smaller. But for growing up, we didn't eat till our dogs ate. Our dogs, we had over 5 acres they could run, and they had their own pond. They're treated like kings and queens, rightfully so, because they need space. We treated our animals like our family, and we were a big advocate that if you don't have the time, this definitely isn't something you want to get into, because you have to make the time. And it's not easy. Life happens, and you have to make a lot of sacrifices. I had to sacrifice things in school because we had dogs, or I had to sacrifice time out with friends because I had to go home and scoop poop or fill water or make salmon water, or, things you learn. And I'm so grateful now having gone through that, because I learned so much responsibility. And I think a lot of kids, especially growing up, could learn a lot from having that kind of responsibility, but you have to have the time and the space for it.
Well, it's a great endeavor. I can't to think that we get to show this thing is a huge honor for us. So thank you for thinking of us. And
I'm able to show it to more people, especially people in Michigan. So it's an honor for me too. Thank you.
yeah, we look forward to watching your career grow. And now that we've got an open portal here, you come to us anytime, and we'll be happy to help your projects out.
Awesome. Thanks so much, man. I look forward to you guys seeing it.
Bobby Anderson, you'll catch it on Channel 96 Monday night for the first time at 7 o'clock, and then we'll have it online. We'll have it on the websites. We'll have it on demand. We'll have it everywhere you can go. It's great to meet you, man, and I wish you best in your career.
Thank you so much. Good to see you guys.